The Maynardville Open Air Festival is set to take place this month in Cape Town. The iconic theatre in Maynardville Park in Wynberg is once again going to be entertaining audiences while basking the sun. Now, this edition will also see production Jesters in the park, produced by the Cape Town Comedy Club and hosted by Rob van Vuuren. Jesters in the Park is a production that showcases some of South Africa's brightest stand-up talents. Now, in its second season, it'll see some of the country's top comedians. And to tell us more, we joined from our Cape Town studio by Kurt Schoonraad. A very good morning to you, Kurt, and a warm welcome to Morning Live.
Good morning, Superior. Thank you very much for having us.
It's an absolute pleasure. Now, this festival has been in existence for quite a number of years and is the second edition of the Jesters in the Park. Tell us who's taking part in this festival.
Well, Jesters in the Park is literally a stand-up comedy stage production in arguably some of the best setting in the country. We've got Rob van Vuuren, a legend of South African comedy. He'll be hosting it. And then we've got a guy called Phil De Lange, who will be our lutist. He plays the ukulele, and he's exceptionally funny. He's got a superb material. And there's a young man called Regan Allen, who will be joining us this year as well. He won the Cape Town Funny Festival competition this year and did exceptionally well. So we're really looking forward to having him on the lineup as well. And then it'll be headlined by Dylan Skews, also a huge, bright South African star who's going to go on and do fantastic things, I think. So literally, it's going to be showcasing some of South Africa's best current talent and young and up-and-coming talent as well. And it'll be running from the 31st of Jan to the 2nd of February.
Well, you mentioned some of the big names in the industry. So how do you go about picking the comedians, seeing that there's such a huge pool of comedians?
Well, this is a fortunate part of it nowadays, is that our gene pool has grown immensely, so we've got really a lot of talent to pull from. What's always important for us at the Cape Town Comedy Club is to make sure that we give a well-balanced show. So you've got really well-seasoned vets hosting the show, like Rob van Vuuren, for example, and a really good headliner like Dylan Skews, but then also being able to showcase some of the young up-and-coming guys like Regan Allen. And I'm convinced that this is where fan bases are built. This is where Trevor Noah's come from, for example. They've got to come from somewhere. And this is the development field they come from. And I'm just looking forward to being able to present a beautiful show like that in arguably one of the best settings in the country.
Yeah, for sure. You just mentioned that it's one of, it's sort of a development field for upcoming comedians. And what do you think this festival means to the artists or the comedians that take part in it? And what does this platform do to them as artists?
You know, when you've got an established brand like this that's been going since 1956, and I'm going to be all presumptuous here, but I'm assuming that's before me and you existed. These guys have been doing this for a long time. It's established for a long time, and it's exceptionally important for young artists to be able to interact with a really savvy stage like that with an audience that's quite savvy. And it's a fantastic crossover of the young and the more experienced. And I'm honored to just be involved in something that's been going on for such a long time, and it's got such a reputation. And then obviously being able to help the younger guys out. And of course, for us in the comedy business, making sure that the gene pools is as deep as possible is where we want to be, is make sure that the best quality product gets to the audience.
Indeed, and you've been around, Kurt. You've been here for a very long time. From who would forget that tourist in Going Nowhere Slowly, and and all other productions you've done. What is the secret to sustaining you as a comedian? What has made you relevant till this far? Well,
I reckon the ability to adapt, I think, more importantly than anything else. I started off in comedy, but I've gone on to produce and direct and own a comedy club. And I think just to diversify one's portfolio and stay current is the only way to do it, simply.
And I've always asked comedians this. How do you strike a balance between entertaining people and freedom of speech, not to offend certain people?
Well, you know, there is a certain artistic license you have as a comedian. There's certain things I would challenge on stage. I wouldn't challenge in a social environment like a braai, for example. There is a certain artistic license that allows you to approach a subject with an openness, I think. And South African audiences are exceptionally open to that kind of thing. And I think that's what makes the fertile ground that South African comedy has become.
All right, remind us again of the details of this festival. Where do I get hold of the tickets and how much they cost?
Sure, that's the Maynardville Festival, and that's been going since 1956. This is Jesters in the Park. It'll run from the 31st of January till the 31st of January, yes,
yeah,
to the 2nd of February, and that can be gotten from CompuTicket, or just interact with the website. And the tickets are freely available at CompuTicket. We hope to see as many of you there as possible.
All right, Kurt, thank you so much, man. We appreciate your time, and all the best.
Thanks for having us. Cheers.
All right. Well, that was Kurt Schoonraad talking to us about Jesters in the Park, which forms part of this year's edition of the Maynardville Open Air Festival, which is set to take place later this month in Cape Town.